Congratulations, Saurabh, on the Young Alumni Achievers Award.
Thanks, Anurag.
So, what does this award mean to you?
This award is, personally, I think this is the most special, most important award for me because it's from the institute, from my alma mater. So I think this will always be very close to my heart. Also, I think this award is not for me alone. This is for my co-founders, for the entire No Broker team who worked so hard to make this dream into a reality. Also, I think it's important that the institute thinks that I'm on the right track. I'm doing something right. Right? The work that I do at No Broker, I also guide some young entrepreneurs. I think that's making some difference. And getting a pat on the back from people who are much wiser than me, who are much more experienced, it feels really good. Also, I think this award is something which brings in me a sense of responsibility to keep striving for excellence, to do better, to contribute back to the society, back to the ecosystem, help my fellow entrepreneurs, help younger entrepreneurs develop the entrepreneurship ecosystem. So I think it's great. I'm really elated that the institute has recognized my work.
It's good to have you back over here and be able to talk to you in person. But when was the last time you were on campus?
It's been a long time. I think it would be more than 10 years. I used to come to institute very often just after graduating. I was with Unilever. I came, I think, 2 or 3 times for interviewing and recruitment. But since then, I think I never came to Ahmedabad, didn't come to the institute. So very long time. My wife and my 2-year-old son, they're coming first time to the institute. So I'm very glad showing them around. Brings back a lot of fond memories. And this familiar heat after, Bangalore weather, this familiar heat after so many years, I think it's very, very welcome. So I think a lot of fond memories come in. At that time, there used to be night retreat where we used to go and have snacks. I don't know if it still exists, but that's where we used to go. And then we used to work in groups for assignments, for presentations, case studies, build some great relationships here. WAC run, I think that was something which I'll never forget. And of course, the quizzes at, just after lunch, you just swallow the lunch and rush back to prepare for those quizzes. I think lot of fond memories just rush back as I came back to the institute. But one thing which I clearly remember is the stark difference to my graduation. So I went to IIT Bombay, and from there I came straight to IIM Ahmedabad. And like in most engineering colleges, 4th year is very relaxed. Attendance is not so compulsory. So I missed a lot of classes. And then I came to IIM Ahmedabad, and there are 180 super smart people, highly focused on academics, and who are very, very competitive. So I was like kind of stunned. I mean, it was totally a different experience to what I had at IIT. I mean, IIT people are also very, very smart, but they were not so focused on only academics and also not so competitive. So, and especially 4th year, people become relaxed. So, and that was one big stark difference. And coming from IIT, sometimes you feel that, boss, you're an engineer, you'll do well in quant and these kind of subjects. And there'll be people from humanities and people from commerce. Unse to acha hi karenge. Then the first quiz happens and you realize that you are in the back. People who are in commerce, they're topping the class. So I think it was also a very humbling experience, and understanding that there's so many more smart people who do really well. I remember one incident. In my first trimester, I missed a class at IIM Ahmedabad. And at IIM Ahmedabad, you don't miss a class. I didn't know that. I got an email from the professor that you come and meet me. Why did you miss a class? And that was like such a shock to me, because if something similar happened at IIT, मेरा तो email box पूरा flood हो जाता. So these are the memories which are there. But I think this rigor and this discipline which was there, it shaped us into what we are today. And I made a lot of good friends, great relationships, people who are like family to me now. So I always cherish what happened here at IIM Ahmedabad.
So, when you came in, of course, after you graduated, there was a brief stint that you had with HUL,
Yeah.
right? After you passed out. And when you came in, probably, an entrepreneurship journey was not top of your mind at that point in time, right? Or was it something that you had already been thinking about? Was it something that, was there in your mind you wanted to explore and experiment before you came in? Or was it something that, something at IIMA that, said that, hey, maybe I should explore this a little bit more, but maybe first get a little bit of corporate experience and then go into that. What was it like at that point in time?
So look, I was very clear from very beginning in my life that I want to be an entrepreneur. I also attempted some startup at IIT during the dot-com boom, and I realized that I don't understand the business well. So after IIT, I had two options. Either I could go for masters in finance. I had offers from London School of Economics and Columbia University, or I come to IIM Ahmedabad. I chose IIM Ahmedabad because I felt that it will give me an overall better understanding of the business, how companies are built, how companies are run, different parts of business, marketing, strategy, operations. And clearly IIM Ahmedabad has not disappointed me. Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot here, and which has been very useful in my entrepreneurship journey. So yes, entrepreneurship was on my mind, and one of the big reasons for choosing IIM Ahmedabad was that I felt it will really help me do better as an entrepreneur.
Okay. So essentially what you did was, just made a brief stint in in the corporate world, but the path was already very clear. That's the direction, the entrepreneurship is the direction that you wanted to go in.
I mean, even choosing Unilever was a very conscious choice because I felt that, I had very good grades, and people with my grades usually used to go to iBanks at that time. I chose not to go to iBanks because I felt that I need this hands-on experience on how to do marketing, how to do sales. And that's why Unilever was a very conscious choice, because it gave me a very good understanding at a very early age. I was handling a large team, people who were twice my age, software skills, leadership skills. I learned about branding. So I think Unilever is a great learning place, and that was a decision I made that it will help me do better as an entrepreneur.
And so essentially you were also, and because your core strengths already lend itself to a traditionally iBanks sort of a career, but you chose HUL because you also wanted to build on the other skill sets that you thought you needed to to make that move later on. So of course no broker has done really well. I mean, there are if I go by the numbers, 130 crore plus brokerages saved monthly.
We save 400 crores every
400
month.
crore now?
Yeah.
Wow. So I mean, this is really dated then. So, and 30 lakh plus customers, probably that number is probably even more
Yeah,
now.
we have 2 crore customers now.
No, so I'm talking about the monthly numbers.
Yeah,
right.
That's interactions that we do
Interactions,
every month.
right? So, and 2 lakh plus new listings monthly.
Yeah,
So obviously
yeah.
that probably there's an enhancement on that as well. But so that's a rapid pace of growth. I mean, that those numbers are fairly, that's very impressive. What enabled you to grow to the stage where you've grown, and the pace at which that you've grown, right? Were there any specific focus areas that you specifically, I mean, you did a conscious decision of saying that these are the things that we should focus on early on so that we can achieve growth, or was it something that that opportunity was there and you sort of took it as an organic thing, because this opportunity is there and let's grow this first, or let's do this first and then the rest of the things will follow? What was the process at that point in time? What were the key elements that you think enabled you to grow the way you grew?
So I think one very important thing was that when we started No Broker, we started with a mission to change the world. Because we realized that lakhs of people like us, or the crores of people like us, they pay huge amount of brokerage every year, every month, whenever they're changing houses or even commercial properties. You wouldn't, I mean, if I ask you to guess the amount of brokerage paid in India, I'm sure you can't guess it. It's 1,40,000 crores every year. That's the amount of brokerage which is paid. So, we were very clear that we have to make this much more seamless, much more cost efficient, and this is what we started with. And this also came from our personal experiences. All of three of us who were the co-founders, we also saw that broker was not adding value, while these kind of issues were coming in very high amount of money. So that's the starting point of No Broker. I remember clearly, we launched No Broker on 1st March 2014. The website went live. All three of us were sitting in front of our laptop looking at Google Analytics कि कब वो traffic का number 0 से 1 होगा. That was that time. And today we have 16 million monthly active users. So of course we have come a very, very long way from where it started. And there are 4 or 5 things which made us succeed. First, I think focusing on the customer problem. That was very important. So if you look at a lot of our competitors, what they've done is they've tried to copy things which work in the western part of the world, enabling brokers, enabling them to advertise. But customer का तो वो problem ही नहीं है. Finding a broker is not a problem. You can just cross the road, then there are 10 broker shops. Or do a Google search, you can find a broker. What customer wanted was that, can my life become easier? Can I not pay such a high amount of money as brokerage? So I think we focused on that. We said we'll connect both the parties directly. There will not be a broker, and both the parties can talk directly. That was the starting point. But we also made sure that we kept listening to what the customer is saying. A lot of people make this mistake that after starting the company or after getting their first product, they stop listening to customers. But in our case, we speak to customers every week, every month, understand what they are saying. So the customer came back and they said कि a property तो मिल रही है हमारे को, but there are other issues which are there. When I find a property, I have to do legal documentation. Who will get that done? Or the owner is saying I have to get the house painted before I can rent it out. Or a buyer is saying I need a home loan. So customers came and told us these kind of problems that they're facing, and the entire journey of the real estate was kind of broken. So we launched a lot of these services and made it into a one-stop shop, which basically enhanced the customer experience. I think third is that many people forget that the real estate market is a micro locality business. So you need to, for example, if you're a buyer and I'm a seller, and I have a property in, say, Indiranagar in Bangalore, and you have to be looking at a property in Indiranagar on that lane, then only the matchmaking will happen. It doesn't matter whether there are 15 properties in Koramangala. You will not be interested in that. So matchmaking happens at the street, at the micro locality level. So you need to have depth in the cities where you are present. So even after almost 10 years later, we are present only in 6 cities, 6 large cities, but we are strongest there. That's a very big difference. Many of the people who try to attempt something, they launch in 50 cities. And none of the cities are enough depth for them to get to that inflection point. So that again, I think, makes a big difference. Next, I think frugality is very important in a startup. A lot of times we feel that now there is so much money available, so we can spend a lot of money and try and do things faster, but many times that doesn't happen. One of our competitor who raised huge amount of money spent $20 million in advertising in 3 months. We spent $20 million in 5 years of our existence. That's the big difference. So I think it's very important to be frugal even now. Till some time back, whenever all three of us co-founders used to travel, we used to stay in one room. एक bed add करा के तीनों एक ही room में रह रहे हैं. We always travel economy. Saving these small things go a long way. Whenever we do a marketing campaign, we know for sure that we are getting the best deal. I know, for example, we did a campaign in Bangalore, and one of my friends, they also did a similar kind of campaign. They spent 50 lakhs rupees for that. We spent 18 lakhs rupees for that. So I think negotiating hard, finding places where you can save money, it's very, very important for running a successful startup. And lastly, I would say great team. This is a big learning, because you as founders can do limited work. your next level of team needs to be very strong. They need to be better than you. That I think is extremely critical, because then you can take out some time to think of how the company has to grow. Otherwise, you'll be caught up in just the operational issue. So I think team is a big, big recipe for success. You should make sure that your next level team is better than you.
And of course, no broker is growing so fast now that you're adding a lot of these value-added services also, right? So, for example, you've grown beyond just the matching process there, and you're providing additional services. For example, cleaning services or rental agreements and other things. So, what's the contribution of this to the revenue growth now?
Yeah. So like I mentioned that our customers only came back and told us that these are the things that they require. And what we realized is that the entire real estate journey, there are pain points. How can we make the entire journey seamless? Because what was happening that customer has to go to multiple places. अभी घर मिल गया, पेंटिंग के लिए किसी और से बात करना पड़ रहा है, पैकर मूवर के लिए किसी और से बात करना पड़ रहा है, क्लीनिंग के लिए just to speak to somebody else. So, and all these services are highly unorganized in India. There is no branded player, there is no consistency in delivery. So you either do with the word of mouth, किसी friend ने बताया अच्छा this is a good guy, you can get him. Because there was no place, one place where you can go. So we realize it's a huge opportunity for us, because we can provide consistency, because we bring in vendors who are audited, we train them, we bring in processes with the help of technology so that everything can be tracked. So basically making the entire thing very, very consistent, we were able to guarantee the quality. And for customer, it was great. At one place, they're getting everything. And it's great for us because the customer is already there. The acquisition cost is zero. And this market itself is a $150 billion market. So clearly, opportunity and win-win existed for both the parties. And it has really helped us during COVID, when the real estate transactions were not happening. A lot of these transactions happened. And we were able to channelize and grow this business significantly at that time.
You've had great partners throughout your journey. I mean, you've had several rounds of funding rounds now, and you have marquee VCs who have come on board and supported No Broker in the growth. And you also recently received a $5 million from the Global India Digitization Fund, right? But of course, they joined earlier VCs as well, like General Atlantic, Tiger Global, and More Strategic Ventures, right? And we of course used to plan to use this for providing chat services for your premiums customers, but also to add something called
society management,
society and apartment management sort of a service. So that's something I think can you share a little bit more about that, because people might want to know what is it that you're bringing in as part of that? What are the specific pain points that does that address, and how will it make life easier for the customers?
Yeah. So look, the entire society management piece was very, very manual. Just imagine that you're living in a housing society and a visitor is coming. What will happen? The watchman will call you and he will say, sir, ye aaye hain, should I send him in? So you have to manually give that approval. And you might be in a meeting, for example, so it's very cumbersome. Similarly, suppose a delivery comes from Amazon and you're not at home. So what will happen, that Amazon guy will call you, you will have to call the watchman and say, okay, you keep it, I'll collect it later. So extremely manual. And the entire management of society, where you have assets, you have maintenance, everything was done extremely manually. So what we did is we provided an entire system so that the customer has a mobile app and they can do everything with that mobile app. The management committee has a dashboard, so the entire ERP of the society could be managed with that, and the customer can do everything with the click of a button. So you can approve a visitor with a click of a button. If delivery is happening, you can say leave at gate, you can pre-approve a delivery, you can book amenities. For example, you can say, okay, I want to book this cost coat at this time. So everything you can do with the help of an app. So makes life very, very simple for people who are living in the society. And we also plugged in all the no broker services there. So if you want to, for example, rent out your house, just at a click of a button, you can post your property. You want to get cleaning services, at a click of a button, you can just get the cleaning guy. So I think the entire ecosystem developed into making the life of society, people who are living in the society, much, much more easier, much more seamless.
And has this been implemented yet?
Yeah, present in more than 18,000 societies, more than 45 lakh flats now.
So the society management system is already implemented.
Yes, it's already live. Yeah, in 45 lakh houses.
So this was already in the works because it hasn't been very long since you got the funding.
Yeah, so we started it before Google came in. Google joined in to say how can they enrich the experience for the Android users.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So and also there is a lot of lot of these other players that are there in the market too. Of course, many of them are your direct competitors. There are others who also provide related services related to apartments and societies, but are also getting into some sort of probably in the direct space in rentals as well, and also other value-added services. So differentiation itself becomes a key challenge because that's where you will, because there are so many other similar services out there. How do you plan to differentiate in such a manner that it's not just another differentiation play, but also is very, very clear for the user that it's it's not just a value-added services thing. It's not just a user experience thing, but something much more transformative than what somebody else is providing.
So I think it's a very good question. When you look at many of these players and you look at no broker, I think when you open the homepage, you see that all of them look very, very similar. And that's why some people get confused that, these are very similar. But if you go inside, you'll realize that we are extremely different. Because all these players, they're actually advertising platforms for brokers. So 95% of the listings that they would have would be brokers. They have a section for owners, but if you go into that section, you'll find that many brokers have posted properties there also. And as an owner, I have no incentive to post a property there, because ultimately what will happen, I post a property and the brokers call me. They said, sir, आपकी property है, मैं sale करा दूंगा या मैं rent करा दूंगा. So it doesn't make sense, it just beats the purpose. Well, no broker is a completely pristine platform. There is only genuine owners, tenants, buyers and sellers that are there on the platform. No agent or no broker can do anything on the platform. In the last 10 years, we have built a very strong algorithm which eliminates brokers. So brokers can't do anything on the platform. It will always be genuine parties. So that makes a big, big differentiation. And also, if you look at before no broker was there, only very minuscule owners used to post a property online. Nobody was posting property online for the same reason which I mentioned, कि आपको broker ही contact करने वाला है. Now, if you look at it, in cities where we have been present, like Bangalore was our first city, I think 17-18% owners now come and list a property on no broker. So it brought a big change from almost zero to now all 17-18% coming and listing a property, transactions happening. So that I think is the biggest thing which we're doing, basically bringing owner who was completely offline to making him online and facilitating the entire transaction between the two parties without any middleman, without any brokerage.
So this is obviously an important element of the user experience as well, and also feeds into other elements. For example, the leakage in terms of data privacy, because brokers, the information does not get to the brokers, right? Yeah. The user experience and information does not get to the brokers as well. But do you think that the platform itself is capable of doing a lot more? As in, do you think there are multiple different ways in which additional value-added services can be built in, or the user experience can be elevated a little bit more?
Look, I think technology is playing that role. So what we see is that as better and better technology comes in, we are implementing that to make sure that the experience becomes better. For example, one thing which you have built now is what is the right rent or what is the right price for the property. So as an owner, for example, if you want to list your property, you don't know what is the amount that you should be asking. So now no broker can suggest you that, okay, this is the amount at which the transaction can happen smoothly. So these are the small elements which we keep on building. Our effort is that whatever an ideal person should have done, we do that with the help of technology. We do with the help of our artificial intelligence, put those systems into place and make sure that the entire experience for the customer is seamless and he or she is able to do the transaction without any barriers.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned technology, because that's where I was going next. Because technology enables a lot of these, these solutions. Obviously, that's at the core of, no brokers. But and obviously, it enables a lot of the, data security, data privacy elements. But with the advent of, newer technology, AI and stuff, how do you see the adoption of that happening? In which areas specifically do you see that the adoption of AI is happening within no broker, and which areas do you, or which kind of solutions do you want to deploy AI to build, or what kind of solutions do you want AI to assist you with?
Yeah. So look, what is the role of AI? AI basically simulates human behavior. Whatever human does with the help of heuristics, AI is supposed to do that with the help of technology in a more unbiased manner, more unemotional manner, so that a person is able to take the right decisions. I think that is what we are doing. For example, if you come and tell us that, okay, I have to shift into this new city, this is where my office is going to be, this is where my wife's office is going to be, this is where my children will go to school, and this is my budget. So using all those permutations and combination, basically we should be able to suggest to you that this is the right place to live. So basically the use of AI should be to guide you in making the right decisions, whether it is the best place to live, how much price to pay, how much price to ask, these kind of things. Also, wherever, for example, we have call center executives who are speaking to the customers, how can we use AI to ensure whether they're telling the right things? How can we train them better? Where are they making mistakes? So a lot of AI also goes in that, making sure the back offices are doing a better job of what they're doing. So I think AI is going to be everywhere, but it's just going to make sure that the entire customer experience elevates and things become much more smoother.
And so as no broker has grown, have you been able to maintain the other initial metrics that you grew with, right, when in the initial days of no broker? For example, if you there would be specific metrics that you focus on, for example, unit economics and other areas. Have you been able to make sure that the financials grow the way you want to grow? For example, do you have any additional cost pressures right now, or any expenditure pressures? So that's the first part of the question. The second part of that is that what are your thoughts on the path to profitability for generally in the startups in the Indian ecosystem, and specifically for no broker?
Yeah. So I think any company that exists, it has two objectives. One is to solve a customer problem, make things better for the customer, easier, faster, cheaper. Second is to generate profits for its shareholders. It doesn't matter whether it's a startup, whether it's a listed company, whether it's a traditional company. I think this is the reason for existence. So clearly, profitability is at the core of what a company should be doing. So at No Broker, we had two choices very early when we started. Either we could have said, let's become profitable very quickly. And that was something which was possible. Real estate is such a huge opportunity. I think becoming profitable was very easy. So the choice was, should we be small and become profitable very quickly, or should we become very large and become very profitable? And I think that's what choice which we made. That because it's a huge network effect business. So we said, let's let the network effect come in, let the snowball effect come in, and the profitability will follow that path. So I think that's where we are. We think that we will hit profitability in the next 18 to 24 months. It seems very possible to do that. We're on the right track. The metrics are looking really good. And I really think the current environment, the current ecosystem, that has also matured a lot from saying growth at any cost to saying sustainable growth. Everybody is asking now the right questions. What are unit economics? When is the EBITDA coming? So I think it's great. It's great for the entire startup ecosystem in India, because we will generate a lot of companies who will create value for the shareholders.
And as you do that, what are your medium-term focus areas? And which areas are you going to focus on in terms of the growth areas that you have? Which areas is No Broker going to focus on?
So we see that no brokerhood is definitely going to be one big focus area, because we think it's a very captive audience which is there, who has a power to pay higher amount of money, and people whom we should work with. So that is going to be one focus area. We also, like I said, we keep listening to customers, and whatever feedback they give, we keep on adding those services. So clearly home services, which we launched during the past few years, they're going to be very, very important. We recently started working with builders and developers, selling their properties. That business is doing very well now. We do around 400 to 450 crores worth of sales every month in that business. So that's a very fast growing business, because even the primary sales business is growing fast in India. It's an upcycle. So again, that would be a big focus for us. I think, having said that, our idea would be, how do we make sure that more and more people can do the transaction without a middleman? They can do a transaction at no broker without spending a huge amount of money. That would be the clear focus for us.
So, of course, a lot of these people, our students will of course be, seeing this video. Many others would see this video as well. For everybody who's sort of looking to, walk down the same road that the path that you've taken, what would your advice be for people looking at entrepreneurship?
Look, my advice would be that, like I always say, that this is the best time to start a company in India. India is at a place where it's going to be a globally economic superpower in the next couple of decades, probably the second largest economy. And the fact that, that people are asking the right questions. So I think great companies will be built during this time. We have seen in the past also, whenever some bit of downturn came in, many great companies came that time. I think Microsoft came in a downturn. Airbnb came during a downturn. So I think a very good time for anyone to build a company. So people should definitely think of entrepreneurship as an option. 4 or 5 learnings I have from from my experience and from working with some young companies. First, which I already mentioned, is the customer. Focus on customer pain points. What is it that the customer is facing? What problems? What are the barriers? What are the triggers? But at the same time, don't stop listening to your customer. I've seen this problem with many companies, that once they launch the product, they feel that we know everything now. We don't need to speak to the customer. I think that's a grave mistake. The best insights you will get when you speak to the customer, and the things that they are going to tell you, they are going to be very, very insightful, and you can develop them into very useful insights. So that is something which people should do. They should take out consciously time to speak to the customers every week, every month. At least they should give some time. So that is the first thing. Second, I think I've also seen many young entrepreneurs focusing a lot on how difficult the problem is and how can we solve that better. But I think it's also important to look at how large the market size is. Because what happens if, for example, in a very shallow market, you solve the problem better than anyone else. Still, I think with, if somebody is, for example, coming from IIM Ahmedabad, he might be better off doing a corporate job than making a very small company in a very small market. It might not be his worthwhile to do that. So I think focusing on what is the size of the market is very, very critical. Making sure that the business is large enough to justify taking this risk. Thirdly, I think team is very important, which I already spoke about, that you should make sure that your next level of team is as good or better than you. Because those are the guys who are going to make your dream into reality. They will release time for you to do things which are strategically important for the company. So invest a lot in your team. We 3 co-founders, a lot of times we joke that if somebody comes to our office and they don't know 3 of us, it will be impossible for them to figure out who are the founders and who are the employees. Our team is so passionate and so driven. So we're really blessed to have a team like that. Fourth is, I think, persistence. Look, entrepreneurship journey is not easy. There will be ups, there will be very, very, dark times when you feel ki, yaar, it's very difficult. I think that, persistence, being illogical at times is important. Because what will happen is that logically लगेगा कि यार ये ना it's not working out. I mean, just think about that when we started the company, within I think 5-6 months of that, we were attacked by brokers, and they broke into our office. We had to vacate the office, no office, and all that. And I mean, we felt कि boss क्या हो गया suddenly. But I think just saying illogically optimistic, things will become okay, because that's what happens. The bad times go and the good times come after some time. You just have to be patient, you just have to be optimist. Of course, you need to find very good solutions to the problems which you have, but be very, very optimistic about this. And the last I would say is co-founders. Like I said, and this is something to do with persistence itself. I think it's a very, very lonely journey if you're doing it alone, and very difficult. So you need to have great co-founders. That's extremely important, because when the bad times happen, it's only the co-founders who understand each other and are able to support each other. I was very lucky in that sense, and I think IIMA has played a very important role in that. That in both my companies, one of my co-founders was from IIM Ahmedabad, Anurag, when I started Four Fountains, and Amit, now with whom I run No Broker. So I think having co-founders who are of the same vision, people who have similar kind of aspirations, it's very important, because they will be able to stand with you when times are difficult. You'll be able to share problems with each other and get out of those difficult times. So I would say to all the entrepreneurs, this is the best time. Just make sure that you have a great idea with a large market, and you should go out and do it.
So what's next for you personally? Not No Brokers, but you. As in, what is it that you are looking forward to? Do you have anything that you are looking forward to doing in the next 6 months, 1 year? What are your personal goals?
So look, a lot of my goals are aligned to No Broker. So I want that No Broker should become much, much bigger. We should be able to solve problem for many more people. We also believe that No Broker can actually offer a solution in many other places. For example, markets similar to, say, Southeast Asia, Middle East, Latin America. These markets have structure which is similar to India, and the solution can exist. And when we were starting No Broker, a lot of people questioned us that why this solution doesn't exist anywhere in the world. And it was very difficult for us to explain to them this is a very made for India solution, or made for developing market solution. So, I want this to be a success, so that entrepreneurs can also get this confidence that made for India solutions can become global at some point of time. So I think that would be a big win. Personally, I think I would also like to contribute back to the ecosystem. I already, spend time with young entrepreneurs, help them in scaling up their companies. I would want to keep doing that, keep doing more of that, finding them right solutions, helping them through my experience, and when they succeed, and that's the time when I feel really, really happy. And speaking to these young guys, bustling with energy, bustling with ideas, it also, gives me a new enthusiasm. So that is something which I would want to do more.
Well, Saurabh, it was great talking to you. Good to have you here on campus, and hope to see more of you here. And best wishes for No Broker, and congratulations again.
Thanks, Anurag. It was great to come here.